Nobody teaches you this, and that's exactly why you keep losing. Most people make one fatal mistake when someone plays dirty with them. They either react emotionally or they try to stay morally clean in a game that was never clean to begin with. And that's exactly how they lose. This world doesn't punish manipulation. It punishes naivety. The people who keep getting outplayed aren't stupid. They're just principled without strategy, honest without awareness, decent in environments that reward timing, perception, and leverage. That's where Machiavelli comes in. He wasn't teaching people how to be cruel. He was teaching people how to stop being blind. He understood something most people still resist today. Power doesn't announce itself. Manipulation doesn't look aggressive, and danger rarely raises its voice. Look closely at the people who play dirty. They don't rush, they don't threaten, they don't explode. They smile, they wait, they let you assume good intentions while they're quietly studying your every reaction. And this video is not about becoming heartless. It's not about lying or cheating or turning into what you hate. It's about thinking clearly when others don't want you to. Because refusing to acknowledge manipulation doesn't make you noble. It makes you predictable. So here are 7 Machiavellian principles that show you how to think when others play dirty. Not to dominate, not to destroy, but to become mentally unreachable. Number 1, stop assuming intentions and start reading incentives. Most people try to understand others by asking one dangerous question. What do they mean? Machiavelli would tell you that question is completely useless. Meaning is invisible. Incentives are not. When someone plays dirty, they're not sitting there thinking, how can I be evil today? They're thinking, what benefits me right now? That difference matters more than anything else. The fastest way to get manipulated is to analyze people through intention instead of advantage. You're listening to tone, looking for sincerity, measuring if their words match their emotions. Meanwhile, the other person is measuring outcomes, tracking leverage, timing, and access. And that mismatch is exactly where control shifts. Here's what dirty players do exceptionally well. They place themselves where outcomes favor them regardless of what they say. They don't need to lie loudly. They just need conditions where their silence benefits them more than the truth does. So stop asking, why did they do this, and start asking one sharper question instead. What do they gain if I believe this? That one question cuts through all the performance. Once you start tracking incentives, patterns show up fast. You notice who only cooperates when someone's watching, who becomes vague when accountability gets close, who suddenly invokes morality the moment consequences appear. And none of this requires confrontation. It just requires observation without commentary. When you stop assuming shared values, you stop needing closure. You stop demanding honesty from people who actually profit from keeping things ambiguous. That calm you feel when you finally see clearly, that is power. Number 2, control access before you try to control outcomes. Most people try to fix situations from the wrong level. They focus on results. They argue decisions. They negotiate conclusions. Machiavelli would say they're already too late. Real influence is established before outcomes are even discussed, at the level of access. Dirty players understand this instinctively. They don't fight over final decisions first. They quietly decide who gets proximity, who gets information, and who gets emotional entry. And once those gates are set, outcomes follow naturally. Here's the thing most people miss. Access is not neutral, it is currency. Every time someone has uninterrupted access to your attention, they are collecting data on you. Your tone, your timing, your stress points, your patterns. Machiavelli understood that people treat you according to how reachable you are, not how valuable you are. When access is constant, respect erodes. When access requires intention, behavior sharpens. This is why manipulative people push for familiarity early. Casual conversations, frequent check-ins, emotional oversharing disguised as bonding. None of it is random. It lowers the cost of interaction And once interaction is cheap, pressure becomes easy. So what do? You don't announce distance, you introduce friction. You don't confront the intrusion, you shorten exchanges. You don't explain your absence, you just normalize being selective and guard your emotional access more tightly than any information. You can replace facts. You cannot reclaim exposed triggers. Control access first. Outcomes will follow. Number 3, let others reveal themselves while you stay unfinished. Most people feel this intense urge to complete every interaction. They want closure. They want to be understood. They want conversations to feel resolved. Machiavelli would tell you that impulse is a liability. Dirty players depend on your desire to finish things neatly. They provoke just enough tension to trigger your need for resolution. And once that need activates, you start offering clarity and explanation. Not because it benefits you, but because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. An unfinished posture keeps control mobile. When others don't know where you stand or what you're thinking, they stay exposed. They speak more, they adjust impulsively, they volunteer information that would have stayed hidden if you'd rushed to respond. Staying unfinished means resisting the urge to correct assumptions immediately. If someone misunderstands you and that misunderstanding doesn't cost you position, let it sit. Their next move will tell you whether the confusion was innocent or useful to them. Machiavelli valued delayed clarity because it allowed patterns to emerge. One incident reveals nothing. Repetition reveals everything. When you close loops too early, you erase your own data. Resolution should happen on your terms, not in response to pressure. Number 4, neutrality is camouflage, and emotion is a beacon. Most people believe showing emotion proves authenticity. Machiavelli would say it proves location. Emotion tells others exactly where to aim. Dirty players are not hunting honesty, they're hunting reaction points. Every visible emotional shift is a signal. Frustration shows where pressure works. Excitement shows where desire lives. Defensiveness shows where insecurity hides. And none of this requires interrogation. It appears automatically when emotion leads behavior. This is why experienced manipulators never rush toward facts. They steer toward feeling. Once emotion surfaces, logic bends, timing speeds up, choices narrow. Neutrality functions like camouflage. When your expression stays measured, others struggle to find leverage. They test, they probe, they exaggerate. And each attempt reveals more about them than it does about you. You can care deeply without broadcasting it. You can be affected without advertising where. When dirty players don't get emotional confirmation, their certainty weakens. Notice how people escalate when they can't read you. They repeat points louder. They sharpen their tone. They overstate importance. That escalation is not confidence. It's loss of orientation. And that quiet victory belongs to you. Number 5, remove yourself from linear thinking. Most people approach conflict as a straight line. Cause leads to response. Action demands reply. Pressure requires resolution. Machiavelli would say this mindset traps you inside someone else's design. Dirty players think in layers, not sequences. While you're focused on the immediate exchange, they're already operating 2 steps ahead, altering context, shifting perception, adjusting terrain so the final outcome favors them no matter what you choose. Linear thinkers react, layered thinkers reposition. This is why smart people lose ground without understanding how. They respond correctly to the situation that's in front of them, completely unaware that the situation itself was arranged to narrow their options. The most effective move is often lateral, not forward. Instead of responding directly, you change the surrounding conditions. Instead of answering the question, you alter the relevance of the question entirely. When someone pressures you publicly, the issue isn't the accusation, it's the setting. A direct defense strengthens their frame. A lateral move, delaying, redirecting, removing the audience, collapses it completely. Dirty players depend on your willingness to play the game they presented. When you refuse, their advantage disappears. Number 6, master the art of strategic absence. Power is not only built by what you do, it is amplified by what you deliberately withhold. Most people believe constant presence equals importance. They show up constantly, they stay available, they respond immediately, and without realizing it, they dilute their own value. Scarcity creates gravity, absence forces attention. When you're always accessible, people stop measuring you. When you pull back intentionally, they start calculating. Strategic absence is not disappearing. It's controlled withdrawal. It's knowing when to step out of view so others feel the vacuum you leave behind. Humans are wired to notice loss more than availability. They ignore what feels guaranteed. They obsess over what feels uncertain. When you remove yourself without drama, without warning, conversations shift. Your name enters rooms you're no longer in. People begin reassessing your role in their lives, not because you demanded it, because you stopped feeding it. And that distinction matters because strategic absence reveals who saw you as a convenience and who recognized you as an asset. If your removal causes confusion, you mattered. If it causes panic, you were holding serious leverage. If it causes nothing at all, well, now you know exactly where you stood with those people. And honestly, knowing that is more valuable than any conversation you could have had with them. Because at least now you're not wasting another second on people who were never really invested in you to begin with. Think about that for a second. You've probably been around people your whole life who only showed up when they needed something, when you were useful, when you were available, when saying yes was your default answer. And the moment you weren't there, life just went on for them like you never existed. That's not a friendship. That's not a relationship. That's a transaction where you were the one paying every single time. And the worst part is, most people never even realize this is happening to them because they're too busy being present, being reliable, being the person everyone can count on. And there's nothing wrong with being dependable, but there's everything wrong with being taken for granted. The world treats you based on what you teach it. And if you've been teaching people that you're always available, always responsive, always going to pick up no matter what, then you've accidentally trained them to see you as a guaranteed resource, not as a person they need to value, not as someone they should put effort into keeping, just as something that's always going to be there, like electricity or Wi-Fi. You don't appreciate electricity until the power goes out. You don't appreciate Wi-Fi until it stops working. And you don't appreciate people until they're no longer available whenever you feel like reaching out. That's just human nature. People don't value what feels permanent. They obsess over what feels uncertain. So when you're always there, always responding within 2 minutes, always free to talk, always ready to drop everything, you're basically telling people there's no reason to appreciate you because you're not going anywhere anyway. And they believe you, not out of cruelty, just out of habit. The moment you pull back though, something shifts, and it shifts fast. Suddenly your name comes up in conversations you're not even part of. People start wondering what you're doing. They start noticing the silence. They start feeling the absence of something they thought was just always going to be there. And that feeling, that little discomfort they experience when they can't reach you instantly, that is where real value gets recognized. Not through grand gestures, not through long emotional conversations, just through absence, just through you quietly stepping back and letting people feel what life looks like when you're not handing yourself to them on a plate. Now, here's where most people get this completely wrong. They confuse strategic absence with punishment. They think pulling back means giving someone the silent treatment to make them feel bad. That's not what this is at all. When you use silence as a weapon to hurt someone, it's petty and it backfires. What we're talking about is completely different. This is about reclaiming your time and your energy as resources that actually belong to you. Think about it this way. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you own. Every hour you spend with someone, every message you reply to, every conversation you show up for, that's you investing something real and irreplaceable, your time. And just like money, when you throw it around carelessly without thinking, people stop respecting its value. But the moment you become selective about where your time and energy go, everything changes. People start preparing before they reach out to you. They think about what they want to say. They consider whether this conversation is actually worth your time. They put in effort, not because you demanded it, just because access to you is no longer free and effortless. And when something costs people something, even just a little effort, they automatically treat it with more care. That's not manipulation. That's just how humans are wired. We protect what we've worked for. We take for granted what came easy. So by making yourself a little less available, a little less predictable, a little less instantly reachable, you're not playing games. You're just restoring the natural balance that should have been there from the beginning. Now let's talk about what strategic absence actually reveals, because this is the part most people are not prepared for. When you step back, when you genuinely reduce how much of yourself you're handing out for free, you're going to find out very quickly who actually valued you and who was just using the access. The people who genuinely care about you will notice. They'll reach out thoughtfully. They'll ask if you're okay. They'll put in effort to maintain the connection, because to them, you matter beyond just what you provide. But the people who are only there for the convenience, they'll fade. They won't fight for your attention. They won't wonder what happened. They'll just quietly drift toward the next available person who gives them easy access. And as painful as that might feel to watch, it's actually the best thing that could happen to you, because now you know. Now you have clarity. Now you can stop investing in connections that were never going to give you anything real back. The confusion some people feel when you pull back tells you that you mattered to them. The panic tells you that you were holding real leverage in their life. But the silence, the complete lack of reaction from certain people, that tells you that you were already expendable to them before you even made a move. And that information is priceless, because you can't build something real on a foundation where people only show up when it's easy for them. You need people around you who show up when it costs them something. Those are the ones worth keeping. Now, strategic absence doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself and the situations you've been sitting in. When you're constantly embedded in every conversation, every group, every dynamic, you lose perspective. You're too close to see what's actually happening. You're reacting instead of observing. You're absorbing everything instead of filtering it. But the moment you create some distance, everything becomes clearer. You start seeing patterns you couldn't see before. You notice who initiates and who only responds. You notice who puts in effort and who coasts. You notice which connections actually energize you and which ones leave you feeling drained every single time. Distance gives you data, and data lets you make smarter decisions about where your energy actually goes from here. You stop chasing people who never ran toward you. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who were never really listening. You stop showing up for people who couldn't be bothered to show up for you. Not out of bitterness, not out of revenge, just because now you can see clearly what you couldn't see when you were right in the middle of it all. And here's the thing about when you do return, when you choose to re-engage after pulling back, you come back differently. You come back with intention instead of desperation. You come back with clarity instead of confusion. You come back having already decided what you will and won't accept going forward. And people feel that shift even if they can't name it. There's a groundedness to someone who knows their own value. There's a stillness to someone who isn't chasing approval or validation. And that stillness is magnetic in a way that constant availability never could be. Remember this: attention given too freely becomes invisible. When you're always there, people stop seeing you. But absence, used with intention and not with bitterness, creates a kind of pressure that no argument or confrontation ever could. It reshapes how people treat you without a single word being spoken. It reminds people that you are a choice they get to make, not a guarantee they get to take for granted. And once you truly understand that, once it really clicks, that your presence is something worth protecting and not something to be handed out carelessly, everything around you starts to shift. The people worth keeping will step up. The ones who were only there for the easy access will step away, and you will finally be surrounded by connections that are built on genuine value instead of comfortable habit. That is what strategic absence builds, not walls, not distance for the sake of distance, just the quiet, powerful understanding that you decide who gets the best of you, and that decision alone changes everything. If something in this video made you pause and think, that pause is exactly why you should subscribe. Most people scroll past the thing that could change them. Don't be most people.